This is the big news this week. Jennifer Salke steps down as head of Amazon MGM Studios. Seagys to producing.
Sorry.
Who was that?
Segway.
Segways. Who was that? Who burped?
Me.
Sorry.
It was the chips.
Yep.
To producing with first look deal. Apparently, this is in connection with James Bond as well.
Yeah, it's like Amy Pascal. She did a shit job, so they were like, "Hey, we don't want to fire you because it makes us look bad, so we'll give you a producer job."
I heard that she actually got fired, and this is their way of just literally, softening the blow.
Yeah. This is a Hollywood firing. We allowed her to step down. It's like any of the tech companies when they fire somebody, it's always, oh, they're leaving to spend more time with their family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a tradition in Japanese companies of actually putting someone in a role where they get given no work and no one talks to them, hoping that they will leave. Yeah, they will effectively leave of their own free will. That is what they're doing to her. They're just leaving her in a corner at the end of a corridor and just saying, no one look at her.
I'm not going to lie. I wish somebody would do that at my job.
Oh,
I would not leave. And I would just that would be like the best.
Did you see that show, Silicon Valley? Did you watch that?
I did not watch that.
Okay, so there's a point where one of the characters, he just keeps rising regardless of how incompetent he is. And eventually he gets into a job where he's basically working for this Google-like company where he literally has no responsibilities. He just shows up every day and sits on the roof sunbathing and does nothing.
That would be great. I'd be like, this is the best. This is the best job ever. Yeah.
You're not wrong. She was the one who oversaw
Rings of Power.
Yeah, the success that was. Yes,
she has been a major failure for many years, and I also suspect that maybe the latest election helped here, because there was this feeling in Hollywood that if you have this like stunning and brave woman, you don't want to fire her. And I feel like for a long time, people like her, like Kathleen Kennedy, got to stay. But I don't know, Bezos recently has seemed different, and maybe at the end he's just had enough, and the tide is turning. Maybe less stunning and brave women, so he fired her.
Isn't she from the J.J. Abrams?
I believe she somehow is tied to J.J. Abrams the same way Patrick McKay and that other idiot is. Sorry, I believe they're idiots. So somehow J.J. Abrams infected this company with his crappy people, and they lost billions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. I was going to say, I think that's another reason why she can't be fired outright, because they'll be admitting failure, and she was responsible for one of the most expensive 5-season Rings of Power. It's sort of like it's one of the biggest things that's ever happened on television. If she gets fired, they're going to say it was a failure, and they can't afford that.
Right.
Well, they had the Citadel too, which was also
another disaster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Should we do the next slide?
Well, I just want to say one quick thing. I was like, so Jennifer, she's getting, ousted or whatever. So if you get women like you get Jennifer Lee of Disney, you get Kathleen Kennedy, you get Pam Abdi over there at Warner Brothers. It's very obviously that women are not good at this job. And I think that maybe that should send a little bit of a message. That,
okay, I will say the views of the guests are not necessarily the views of the channel. Disclaimer. Okay, this is a sidestep. Somebody tweeted this. I don't know Sharon Tay. Yagodo.
That's good enough.
Sharon Tal Guado.
Yes.
Sounds like
very generous to say Bond was the reason. This was the most irresponsible and wasteful run of TV execs in the history of Hollywood. I will never forget how she called the Russo brothers a day before an upfront. Is that like a press conference? And made up a show they could announce before she knew what it was. That was the Citadel.
So, just so you know, Sharon is a media executive, including someone who's worked at Amazon. So,
wow,
yeah.
So that was Knives Out, then, yes,
a bit.
Damn. Never saw Citadel. Why was it so bad?
One episode, that was enough for me.
Yeah, you don't need to
I watched
bother.
the whole thing. I watched the whole thing, and I'll tell you what. it just felt so by the numbers, generic and dumb. It's like you can barely get through an episode, and every episode was like worth $100 million or something, and you don't even know where the money went. It seems like one of the biggest money laundering schemes I've ever seen is like the Citadel.
What's the premise of the program?
Okay, so there's these two secret agents. One is the guy from
is it that Richard Madden bloke?
Richard Madden, yes. One is Richard Madden, and the other one is Priyanka Chopra. And apparently they used to be like secret agents, but their mind was deleted, and now they're leading regular lives, but something happens and they remember that they're secret agents. But man, you can't imagine how bad it is. It's like you can barely watch it. And usually, even like something mediocre and dumb that just had this idea would probably be okay. With this kind of money and this kind of team, they couldn't even produce mediocre and dumb. It's like awful.
Madden's a great actor as well.
He's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. There's just nothing to work with. It also has Stanley Tucci and it has a few other actors. The casting here isn't the problem. The problem is that the screenplay, it's less than AI. You know, it's something worse than an AI can generate. Directing, everything about it, it just feels really cheap and disgusting.
Do you know all the execs on Amazon and Netflix, they do not say film anymore. They do not say TV show. They say content. And it explains the whole of their philosophy over making TV shows. Prices, again, let's say the Price is Right. He's definitely right about this show. Right, because, right, it basically is a painting by numbers idea and screenplay. It really is. It's just that they know they have to have certain things in it so that people will just, and when they look up from their phones, they will still understand what's going on. And when they look down and they miss a bit, that's how they're making TV shows now and films, to basically help the people that are looking at their phones to understand it when they look up. And I'm not even joking.
Everything's spoon-fed.
I'm not even joking, because that was an order given by one of the execs at Netflix to some script writers that I know. Yeah. So there you go. That's what they're doing.
Here you go, folks. Istophobus wrenched water spot member 2 months. Hello, my friend. Salke's real connection was to the hashtag #MeToo people. I feel like we all got Me Too because of this shit content we've been having. TV programs.
Doesn't feel natural, none of the stuff that they put out now.
No. Shall we do a bit of a sidestep?
Yeah.
It's kind of connected. Sure. So this was the biggie this week. Amy Pascal, David Heyman close deals to produce next James Bond.
I mean, I like the David Heyman guy, and Amy Pascal, I mean, you know, she makes bad movies, but I mean,
I think she had connections to, I think she was a producer on Skyfall, if I've read that correctly.
It should be 2 men producing James Bond. There should not be a woman in sight.
I agree with you, Ian, and I'm tired of these same ladies being recycled. Amy Pascal, you know what annoys me about Amy Pascal?
Her hair?
No, beyond her hair. She was caught, like,
She's
because
got
of
bad
that.
breath.
She was caught with those leaks from Sony with the emails.
Oh God, was she the racist?
Yes, she was the
God, she forgot about that.
And because she's a woman,
Sorry.
and she's stunning and brave, they let it all, they swept it all under the carpet.
Shit.
It's like people I mean, I know it's a different company, but I think of how like Gina Carano was fired and things like that. And this lady is sitting there, they're stunning and brave executive woman saying like the craziest stuff. And they just, in the case of Sony, they only semi-fired her. They fired her and said like she would be involved in productions, but in her case, she really is involved in productions. Okay. It's not like the Jennifer Salke that I'm not sure she's going to be involved. With her, they actually do give her a lot of shit to do. And I think she shouldn't work again. Like, screw her. She made her millions.
While Skyfall was probably a success.
And a crappy movie at that, but go on.
Ruddy, hello my friend. Ghostbusters, yes, I forgot about this. Yes, Ghostbusters 2016 was all Pascal.
When James Bond started, it was 2 males, it was Harry Saltzman and Albert R. Broccoli. And it was very much a boys' own adventure movie. That's what it was.
Yes.
When Barbara Broccoli got introduced, it's only because she was, his daughter. But to actually put a woman in there with this kind of rhetoric, it's going to destroy James Bond. It really is.
Do you know how much? There is a rumor. Do you know how much Amazon paid to dispense with Broccoli and Wilson?
$1 billion.
Billion.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I did read somewhere that Bezos basically said pay whatever it takes to get her out because of some of the comments she was saying.
Yeah.
So she was saying it's not content. You can't have spin-offs. James Bond is James Bond. You can't make
You'll
spin-offs.
devalue James Bond if you do that.
I've been reading other articles from like insiders and things like that. It's all with a grain of salt. But people are saying that regardless of what she said, Barbara Broccoli, Bezos wanted her out regardless, and he was already simultaneously annoyed with Salke that Salke told her that Bond is content. So part of his anger wasn't just at Barbara Broccoli, but also with Salke, and the fact that he had to shell out $1 billion for a situation that maybe without Salke could have been smoothened in a nicer way. He felt that may have been the final straw, according to some insiders. I don't know if that's true or not. But I will say that if he's putting Amy Pascal here, it's like he's learned nothing. What you finally got rid of some annoying executive that shouldn't be there, and you're putting another one. And I agree with this in this case with Ian. Ian is sometimes like a hardliner, but I agree with you. There should be 2 men in charge of this. I don't want to see any of this sensitive Bond weeping and all this shit. Just give him a gun, let him kick people's ass, and then the ladies love him. And if you can't do that, then fuck you and don't even use this thing.
Damn.
Ooh, very hard.
It's the truth, though.
It is. It is. Okay. Let's step. I'm boomering.
To the left, to the left. Okay.
Okay. This is the official. I've edited the picture out, but
what was it? Gay Bond, was it? Was that a picture?
I think it was
Shooty as Bond.
it was the woman and the producer man. This is the official twats of James Bond. Amazon MGM Studios have announced that Amy Pascal and David Heyman will produce the upcoming James Bond film. In quotes, James Bond is one of the most iconic characters in the history of cinema, said Amy Pascal and David Heyman. We are humbled to follow in the footsteps of Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson, who made so many extraordinary films, and honoured and excited to keep the spirit of Bond bullshit very much alive as him, they, them, possibly? She, him, on his next adventure.
Well, at least they said he. So
at the moment,
yeah. If they start making spin-offs, they're going to devaluate James Bond. James Bond as a film is a series that comes out maybe every 2 years or 3 years, and then you look forward to it. If they put all these spin-offs off and they do crap things with James Bond, it's not going to feel like an event. You know what I mean? So.
Could there be actually a decent spin-off we could think of?
No, there should be no spin-offs. It should be just James Bond movies.
What spin-off could you have? I mean, could you follow Moneypenny and see how she does the filing and make some tea?
No, but Barbara Broccoli turned her into some Moneypenny with a gun. Didn't which one was that? Yeah. Remember, she shot James Bond and he fell off a bridge. Do you remember? Yeah. So
I must have missed that.
And then we all went Skyfall.
Was that Skyfall?
Yeah.
It was Skyfall, yeah. It happened in the beginning.
Okay, I've got it. Sorry. Sword in the Storm, wrenched. Hello, my friend. Pussy Galore, the early years, yeah. Pussy Galore does Dallas.
Well, they're going to make a Moneypenny spin-off. You know they're going to do that, right? I think that's the only one they're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, out of consistent characters, you've got Bond, you've got Q, you've got M, and you've got Moneypenny. That's pretty much it. Everything else is just sort of like a rotating cast. So they're the only spin-offs you can make, unless you
Felix Leiter.
Yeah,
but there's no point not even that.
Well, exactly. Though.
It's just like Reacher, Neely. They're giving Neely a show. Do you know what I mean? Why? Because she's a woman. They're giving her, it's just a waste of my time.
Weren't they toying with the idea of doing was it Halle Berry, the Jinx character?
Oh, yes,
they were
talking about that.
And they bottled it, didn't they?
Thank God.
Well, they couldn't do it because she won an Oscar, and then she was
Too
there were films
expensive.
in front. Yeah, well, films in front of her as well, but she couldn't get
Oh,
time off.
okay.
So they would have done it though. They would have done it.
The film didn't do well, the one she was in. I think people were already... The writing in the late Pierce Brosnan days wasn't great, even though I still liked him.
Yeah.
No, it did
Yeah.
well. The James Bond films always do well, and it did well. It didn't do as well as expected, but it did extremely well. That one.
It was for me. It was when I knew they'd lost it. It was the invisible Aston
Invisible
Martin.
car.
That was the moment they lost me, and I thought,
See-
"Oh, this is tired now."
I thought GoldenEye was incredibly good, and I thought The World Is Not Enough was incredibly
Loved it.
silly, but it was a
Loved
good.
it.
It
Yeah,
was a
loved
good
it.
Bond. And then the other one, was it Die Another Day? That
Yeah.
really just
Yes.
wasn't good.
Mm.
It just
Yeah.
that was where I think all the problems started, and it just kind of slowly collapsed after that.
Tomorrow Never Dies is the best Pierce Brosnan one, in my opinion. It had everything that you needed from a Bond film: a supercar, had
Yeah.
him kissing up women. You know, he looked really terrific in that film, and I'm not even gay. Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
he really did look great in that film. So that film to me was his best one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I forgot
Okay.
that one.
Okay, so I think we're done with